Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically are discussing one of the topic that is city creation. City creation basically are discussing one of the topic that is India account. India account basically we are discussing one of the topic that is SBI account, Amazon account, and after 2 days basically the big earthquake is going to happen in India. That topic actually we are discussing. In this basically we are discussing about the lava topic. And in lava basically we have discussed 10 crore project and the lava data basically which is dumped inside the land basically which is going to produce 100 crore child. So in that basically the satellite group basically are checking that basically the 100 crore child basically is going to map to which all jodis basically that you have there. So like this basically they checks. They do the process according to the requirement basically they checks the same. So here one of the person basically asked the question. How they actually checks basically. First they basically will pick one person or basically it is going to check to that lava data or basically it is like that the entire lava data basically is going to be checked to single person. How basically that might be, which is the easiest way basically. So that is very dangerous thing basically. That is very dangerous thing basically. So one of the person basically asked the question. One of the person basically asked the question is how this basically we can going to check this. How this is going to be checked. So that is very dangerous thing basically, which just now basically I discussed. Assume that basically both side basically they are checking. First which they will going to pick one person, one boy basically. So one person told her, yeah, that is not very difficult thing basically. First boy basically you have to check, then basically you have to check the 100 100 crore data basically. Then basically you have to check the girls. Then basically you have to do this. So what basically the easiest way basically? Because each and every single time single data basically you have to check. That is basically by default that you have to check, that you have to check up to single level basically. You have to check the up to single level data basically. You have to check the single level data. So one of the person told that yes basically you are correct basically. You have to check the single level data basically. You have to check the single level data. So how that is possible here basically? That is also question basically. That is also question. How this is going to achieve basically? First, basically, male is going to check to this 100 crore data, or basically the girls are going to be checked the 100 crore data, or basically one jodi basically is going to be prepared by the 100 crore group basically, and then basically the data is going to be prepared. Then basically, what about the divorce group basically, the people basically who gets the divorce, so they basically are basically ended from the world basically. So how basically that data manipulation basically happens? That is a very dangerous question. So many ways basically we have to discuss. First, basically assume that basically male basically data. First one around 190 crore male, 190 crore Indian nationality exists in this world as on today. First male, first person basically picked, that is the male. He is going to check to the 100 crore data. That is the 100 crore child basically is going to process. Another way is female picked 100 crore checking. Both basically picked 100 crore checking. 100 crore picked and male basically checking started. 100 crore picked. Girls data basically started checking. 100 crore picked and one Jodi basically checked started. So one person basically asked the question, is it like that basically we have the list of Jodis? Is it like that basically? Mostly this type of possibilities are there basically. Because I will take one example. Because in this world basically, assume that basically there are around 35 types of Jodis. 35 types of Jodi. So this 100 crore data only have to check these 35 types. That's all. Done. The task basically is done. But what about the totally different Jodi? For example, currently basically the Corona came. In that basically that everything basically got changed. Now what about that basically? That is also question basically. That basically is connected with the satellite. So here the question is 35 types of Jodi checked by what the 100 crore data. That's all basically. The task is done. So here one of the person told that how basically Jodis basically are connected. So one person told that one girl basically is working in the office and boy is also working in the office. Like this profession wise basically Jodi happened. And it might possible that basically profession wise Jodi doesn't basically match and the habit wise Jodi basically happens. So two second type also basically came. And third basically both basically eating habits basically are same. That basically comes to the other basically types. Then basically the both basically like cricket, that is the sports activity. There basically one Jodi basically came. Then basically both like the reading basically. There basically one board like this basically assume that basically there are both basically have habit of drinking beer. That basically the wood Jodi happens basically. So each and every basically Jodis basically are there. So it's basically not possible that basically each body basically it might possible that the opposite direction also basically gets connected. So that is also one Jodi basically. So like this assume 35 types of Jodis basically are there in this world. In this world basically entire. And I am basically talking about Indian nationality because I am in India. I would win Singapore then basically might be talking about the Singapore. So currently I am in India. So 35 types of Jodis basically are there in this world. So that 35 types of Jodi only basically they have to check. That's all basically. The universe task basically is done. They will check just within fraction of second basically. For them basically it's fraction of second basically. But we basically can't check the data. Why? Because to take the data from lava and basically check that data basically from power company, the nuclear power company and the energy company. That is not possible. Why? Because the data is not prepared in the power company. Then basically how you are going to check? How you are going to check that data basically? Because power company don't have the conditions basically. According to the lava data that is the 100 crore child, then how you are going to check that data? That is also question basically. So that is also question. That is also question. So one person told that this is the best way basically how basically they checks the data and this way only basically the checking basically mostly happens. And another way basically is that basically we have already discussed. First male picked, 100 crore checked, female picked 100 crore checked, then both basically picked 100 crore checked, 100 crore picked male checked, 100 crore picked female checked, 100 crore picked both jodi checked. So that possibilities are also basically there. So they basically checks mostly each and every possibilities. Then only basically they allocate the child. In this basically, the people who basically have Nasbandi basically disease, they basically will get out from this. Why? Because sperm condition is also one of the condition. Basically. Sperm is also one of the condition. Sperm is also one of the condition. Because you basically can't get the child from the air basically. For example, this is one place and there basically the process started and the child basically happened from that area basically. That is not possible basically. That is not possible. So here basically the condition is what? Male must basically be perfectly medically fit without nasbandi, and female also basically should be perfectly fit without nasbandi. So that is basically the conditions, and on the base of that condition basically the rest of thing basically happens. So one of the person told that this is the world basically. For this only basically you are doing the hard work, you are basically doing the earning the money, you are basically you are basically having the house, you are basically having the bungalows, you are basically having the cars, you are basically earning the good money. For that only basically you are doing the job. But if you don't have basically generation only, then basically what you are going to do basically? Somebody told that basically there are the generation ही end कर दिया सब किसी ने. Assume that basically one person got marriage in Mumbai or basically in Bangalore basically assume that. And he basically he got first marriage, and in Bangalore basically the girls group basically done nasbandi of that particular boy. And when basically trying when basically after divorce basically first marriage basically divorce happened, and in second marriage basically when he tried to do the marriage in Mumbai city basically, that time basically he was not able to get the birth of child basically. Why? Because when he checked the medical department, sorry, the medicals of the doctor basically told that basically checked some medical report basically. In that basically doctor told that basically have you done your basically husband has done. Then he told that no basically. And exactly doctor told that date also basically. Through laser equipment basically your husband was done. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the tracking devices are also created basically. Because this everything is connecting to software industry only, because that boy basically was connected with the software industry and this generation and basically was done by the software group, and this is already done. So like this basically assume that basically this entire story created to the 100 crore child lava data process. So here one person basically asked the question basically, assume that Sunil R. Nair's data basically is dumped inside the lava after 1 crore child basically is going to process, and after 1 crore basically the next number will be of Sunil R. Nair's data. So here the question basically is first birth process basically started from that lava. Anything is going to happen because it's going to connect to that one after 1 crore number basically. So anything is going to happen here basically. So lots of people say that the universe group always keeps a tracking device basically. That they have the count of birth basically which is going to process, and after this count basically they basically do some trigger basically. They basically do some trigger, not tiger basically, trigger basically. So like this basically they do the triggers. This many birth happen, trigger. This many birth happen, trigger. This many birth happen, triggers. Trigger means alarm basically, you can say. In clock basically when you do the creates the alarm basically, in clock basically when you do the alarm, that alarm basically happen. So whatever things basically which earth planet has created, that is given by universe group only. Whatever thing basically which you are creating basically, that is given by universe group only basically. It's not basically given by some other groups basically. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the creations basically are done. Up to what level the creations are done basically. Up to what level the creations basically are done. So one of the person told that your generation basically is ended by Bangalore city, right? So Bangalore city, and here basically I'm taking now Bangalore. So assume that basically Bangalore city ended your generation basically. So anything basically is going to happen to Bangalore city. The human needs basically which they are going to have, the land basically which is going to have the water. Anything is going to happen to that. Mostly basically that is decided by the universe group. And here basically if generation has ended, in that basically universe group has also given the permission. Then only the generation basically has ended. Without universe group basically nothing happens in this world basically. For example, assume that basically my generation is going to end. Just taking as an example. So who basically is going to be? So first basically they will ask the family members. His generation basically we are going to end. Then basically they told that basically yes basically you can end the generation. They basically prove that basically his generation basically has to end. Then basically they will ask the God group basically. Or basically before that basically they will ask the doctors basically who are basically connected with that particular person. Then basically this everything basically why I'm telling because before generation this whole group basically knows that his generation basically is going to end. Then basically they will ask temple group. That is, for example, I am doing the fasting of Hanumanji. So Sri Ram and Ram Mandir and Hanuman Mandir group basically is going to get some one question basically. Should we finish Sunilar Nair generation? They also told yes. Then basically they will ask NASA and ISRO group. Basically. Then they will ask the currency department. Like this basically they keeps on asking, keeps on asking, keeps on asking. At last basically they ask the lava department. That if basically his generation is going to end, anything is going to affect to lava creation. So this is basically new, which is not done. Why? Because Bollywood group has not tracked this data. Due to that, basically Bollywood group has created software industry. So software industry also ignored that data. So this checking basically was not done. So due to that, basically what happened? The lava checking was not done, and they basically directly basically passed it through the satellite group, and satellite group basically told that basically we basically trust on Earth planet. So they have told because we are not staying in Earth planet basically, they are staying in Earth planet. So we are trusting Earth planet. They have told end the generation, so we are basically ending the generation of Sunilar Nair. So like this basically they also ended Sunilar Nair next generation. So in next video basically we are going to see little bit more about this topic. That is next generation ended of Sunilar Nair.